Hi there, this is Liam from Colab. In this video, we're going to demonstrate just how easy it is to get design feedback from your suppliers, enabling you to get that feedback earlier and more often throughout your process. And so while many companies realize and recognize the value of engaging suppliers sooner, and they might even have initiatives around supplier collaboration, the reality is that often the tools and processes that they use and that they have in place for really the foundations of design review, right? How do you access a file, provide feedback on that design, and then review and action it with the team? Well, it starts to fall over when they try and accommodate that external design input. For example, a team that's using screenshots in a PowerPoint deck that are being discussed over email, tracked in Excel, and driven through meetings, when you try and insert 3 suppliers into that design review process, that's now 3 more PowerPoint decks that you have to manage and keep in sync, 3 more Excel sheets that you're trying to manage. That might be 3 new sets of meetings that you have to try and set up just to screen share and do a CAD spin. Maybe 3 FTP servers that you have to coordinate with IT just to get those files in the hands of your suppliers. Right, and all this friction, what it leads to is really engaging suppliers only when it's absolutely necessary. And that's often very late in your process. And late in your process, that's when the risk is really high for change. That's when rework cycles can put you over deadlines, or change in general is just very, very expensive. And so instead, in Colab, we're gonna make getting this design feedback early and often really easy, really secure using a portal. Portal is a dedicated space for us to share files, get design feedback from a supplier. Now, assuming I have the permissions to do so, creating a new one is very easy. Top right here, I'll go ahead and create a portal. Let's give it a name. It's typically the supplier and maybe referencing the project as well. Simply put in their email. So what email for the supplier do we want to be jumping into Colab, providing feedback, and specify my portal admins. Who internally is allowed to decide what this supplier has access to in terms of the files and revisions, as well as what parts of the conversation can they see. And so we'll have specific control over that as well. Once I've created my portal, well, it's very easy. Let's take a look at this example. I have a portal for my supplier in Canada. In terms of seeing exactly what they see, right? What files and revisions do they have access to? What feedback are we working through with this supplier in particular? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and open up that portal. And now I am seeing exactly what that supplier sees once they've quickly created their account and jumped into Colab. Left-hand side in one place is all of the files that we've shared with them, whether it's a drawing, we'll start off with this example, or it's a model where they can open it up right there in their web browser. And so easy access to the designs themselves, but also in one place, all of the different issues, ideas, and comments that we're working through together. And so once they have these files open, for example, on a drawing, they can come in and start to directly redline that drawing right there in the context of the design. And as they go through, again, in one place, all of that feedback is there where we can not only get aligned on what issues we're working through, but where they are in the context of the design. Again, we can also extend this to 3D models as well. And so the supplier doesn't have to worry about what is the underlying format, what CAD licenses do they have. Instead, they can open it up directly in their web browser. They don't have to download those files. And again, they can start to provide feedback directly on these designs. So we've made it easy for them to access. We made it easy for them to provide some feedback. Now that we're getting feedback on this design from our supplier, do I have to go through extra steps now to make sure that this feedback is visible to the rest of the internal team, where we can discuss and action it together, where we're considering maybe other feedback that we're getting from other suppliers? The answer is no. Colab is going to do all of this for us automatically, and I'll show you what that looks like. So this file doesn't just exist with this supplier, right? It might exist with other suppliers. We're reviewing it internally. There's lots of different discussions happening on this particular revision. I'm gonna go ahead now and view this file in my internal workspace, my Colab workspace. Now, as I jump back to my internal workspace view, what you're gonna notice now is that on the right-hand side, we not only just see Will Hunting, our supplier's comment, but we're seeing all of the feedback that we're getting from internal reviews, different suppliers, everything rolling back here into one place. And so what this means for me as the owner of this design is that if I want to see all of the feedback, all of the discussions that are happening, that is always going to be rolling back into one place. I don't have to go hunting this down across different PowerPoint decks or asking the different people that are managing different suppliers, did you hear back? Where is all of this comments? Instead, it's coming back here into one place. And as we start to discuss and action and prioritize that feedback, we'll take a look at this comment here again. We have two discussion threads, an internal discussion thread and an external discussion thread. So we can manage the intricacies of having that private internal discussion and then our more public supplier facing external discussion reply as well. And so while all this feedback is rolling back here into one place, we can also be taking feedback that's coming from our internal design review process and sending it to suppliers as well. And so for example, Pam here says, will this be enough room for them to work with? Indicating that we need supplier input on this comment. If I want to take this view state that Pam has created, this issue that came up, we can very easily also say share that to a portal. And so I'll go ahead now and select the portal I want to share to, select the supplier that we need input on this design from. And so again, making it very easy for suppliers to access these files, provide design feedback, and then automatically make sure that the whole team has visibility. It's rolling back into one place where we can review and action this as a team.